Can you?
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. Hot, hot! This is State of My Sports.
Jumping into our Michigan game. Michigan gets the win. They went into Iowa's Kinnick Stadium and had a very polished showing to win on the road, 27-14. Michigan's defense, as expected, shut down Iowa's poor offense through the first three quarters. Shut them out to bring a 20-0 lead into the fourth quarter before getting outscored 14-7 in the fourth. It was an odd game, to say the least. I think there was times that Michigan looked like they were just going to run away with it, and they never I guess really did. It felt like they were dominating, but there they were. In the end, it was close, and Iowa did what they do. They kept it in striking distance for the most part. Forced Michigan to really need some big plays late on both sides of the ball to seal the deal. I thought JJ was efficient. He took care of the football for the most part. He had that bad throw that was a fumble that luckily we recovered, but not explosive again. And I think that's the other thing that I'm interested with. He missed him downfield once again, which is getting really frustrating. But he went 18 of 24 for only 155 yards in the touchdown. One touchdown and nothing on the ground really again, which is scary. But taking care of the football is a key positive at this place. Like if he had that one turnover, that could have changed the whole feel of this game and made it really, really difficult. It's just he has to take care of the football. The fumbles need to stop because you do that against Penn State, Ohio State, even Michigan State. Like I know they look bad, but like if you start turning the ball over in those games, those are the teams that are going to make you pay, and that's making me a little nervous still. But he took care of the football. 0 turnovers at Iowa. That's all we can ask for. Schoonmaker led the team in receiving with 4 catches for 45 yards. Andrew Anthony 1 catch, 29. Roman Wilson 4 for 28. Donovan Edwards 4 for 21. It's just, again, no one is emerging as that threat as a wide receiver, and I want to see that too. Those are the two things that are important to me is I need to see this offense start clicking because, look, I was on board to switch to JJ. I think we all were. I'm not second-guessing that because he's doing exactly what Cade did, but he's there to do more. You know what I mean? And I want to see that. I want to start seeing it here soon because I'm getting more and more nervous that if our defense doesn't show up, we're not getting the game records that we need. I don't know if we can continue to score. You know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously, Blake Corum, again, just a beast, 133 yards on 29 attempts and a rushing touchdown. Add on the rushing touchdown from Ronnie Bell. They were the first 2 rushing touchdowns Iowa allowed so far this year, so that's great. Edwards came back with a nice performance with 29 yards on 5 carries for a 5.8 average and an additional 4 catches for 21 yards and that receiving touchdown, which is cool. I thought he looked different. I thought he looked hurt. I just don't think he looks fully healthy. Making me a little nervous here. Probably won't get a whole lot of playing time this week. Trying to rest him up before the big one against Penn State. But nice to see him back, at least to the point that he is comfortable playing. So that's a good thing for Michigan, especially with Corum. I mean, I think he's had 25-plus carries in last 4 games probably. So that's good. It's good to have someone that can spell them. You know what I mean? Because was it Stokes or whatever? Stokes or Stokes? I don't remember their names exactly. But fumbled on his 1 carry the week prior. So it's important to have somebody that you can trust as like to spell Corum when we went to. But I thought there was a really key moment in the game. It really just kind of the ending of it. 4th and 2 on Michigan's 6-yard line with the score 20-7 and almost 6 minutes left. Michigan's defense got the stop to get the turnover on downs. That was huge, obviously, but you did have that 3-and-out right afterwards. That sucks. It felt like the opportunity to put the game away, but again, the 3-and-out punted to the Iowa 42, and this is kind of just the ending of the game here, the way it all played out. But Iowa had a chance to score there to make it a game. And then you punted to the Iowa's 42 with 4 minutes left, and the defense took over. Morris had a sack, nice pressure on an incomplete pass, and then I thought was it Upshaw that maybe had that sack? I thought it was maybe somebody else, but I might have that written down wrong. But they forced it to 4th and 24 to force the other turnover on downs. Defense stepped up when they needed it most because that was starting to feel like a game that better be freaking careful because there's too much time. They're within that 2-score thing, and it could have went the other way, you know?
Yeah, one big play. Yeah, one big play, too. You're on the road. You get that crowd behind the home team that it really changes that landscape.
Yep. After that second turnover on downs, Corum had 3 runs and then the touchdown was how they did it. Changed the game to 27-7 before Iowa scored with 8 seconds left. Are you ready to call Michigan a contender?
Personally, no.
No?
I think the Big Ten season's too long to jump on that train right away. I want them to be.
Yeah.
Fortunate for them, they keep moving up in the rankings, and it's a big brand. Let's put all 3 things together and put a solid, display on the field week in and week out. Yeah, it seems like the offense is just sputtering a little bit. Like you said, we need some wide receivers to step up. We need somebody to be a go-to deep threat to help counter that balance with, because we're going to, play action should be open. We should have some guys wide open with the way Blake Corum's running the ball. I think their defense is probably good enough to keep them there. But like you said, we need to score more points if we're going to be a top-tier team. If we're going to compete with these other programs, because you start getting into some of those SEC defenses, they shut us down. And I don't know that our defense is quite ready to match up with their offensive schemes. But again, I think it's just a little bit too early to tell, but I hope that they can stay up there in that top tier. What about you?
I want to say yes, but it's not necessarily because of what I've seen from Michigan. It's more or less from what I've seen from everyone else in the league.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I see 5 teams that deserve to be in the playoff right now, especially once these games start playing. Like, something's got to give, and some of these teams are going to fall, obviously. But it's just the middle, the 5 to 15 teams that are supposed to be contenders knocking on that door to take over. We'll get into a lot of the rankings and stuff here soon, but like, I don't see that team that can jump up and be like, no, this is ours for the take. You know what I mean? I don't see anybody taking away their spot.
Yep.
And that's where I have a hard time. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, well, we're going to be in the playoff because we're going to go undefeated. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not comfortable saying that for Michigan, but I just don't see how. Like, this just feels like it's going to have a 2-loss team in the playoff one way or another. So I think Michigan could be that team if they're okay with Michigan and Ohio State both getting in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm going to say yes, but I need to start seeing scoring. Like you said, it's you don't beat teams defensively, and I should be careful saying that because a lot of people get all mad. But it's college football. You got to be able to put up points when push comes to shove. And yeah, the defense got absolutely destroyed last year against Georgia. But if we had a way to respond with a really good offense, then that we wouldn't have fallen out of that game as quickly as we did. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to need to do in a couple of these matchups coming up. So Michigan led the nation in explosive plays last year. I think it was like the most 30 yards, 40 yards, and 50-yard plays in all of college football. And that's what we're missing. Yeah, we're getting a Corum run here and there, but where's the big throw, hitting that big throw over the top? We need those things. We need to be doing it in multiple ways. As much as I love what Corum's doing, he's not an NFL guy, in my opinion. And maybe I'm being unfair to him, but you don't ride a non-NFL talent body through college football.
Running back, yeah. That game isn't sustainable in today's college football.
Yeah, and I hate saying he's going to get dinged up or something like that. Like that's unfair. I know what he does off the field. He's just a freak in the weight room and stuff. Doesn't take a day off. That's all great and stuff, but how sustainable is what he's doing in his frame? I just don't see that possible with what we have coming up. You know what I mean?
I love having a workhorse running back.
Yeah.
But let's complement that.
Yeah.
JJ should be putting up 275 to 300 yards a game.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yep.
He should be putting up numbers like these other quarterbacks that are fighting for the Heisman year in and year out. I don't know if they're just trying to be a little conservative now. Don't give teams too much film. I don't know.
It's so hard to say,
but
right? In college?
You'd like to see Michigan go into Iowa and dominate that game. You'd like to see them dominate against Maryland and blow these teams out. Again, I don't want to jinx the team. Are they looking past some of these teams and looking at other things? It's interesting where they're at because with Cade, we knew what we had, right? Mm-hmm. We had last season to go off of, and now, we're all excited for JJ. But
we haven't seen it.
I feel like a little bit of that air fell out of the balloon, and we're kind of getting grounded back to reality here. But I still trust his arm and his playmaking ability. I think when push comes to shove and we get into these matchups with other teams in the Big Ten, fighting for those playoff spots and, to go undefeated on the season, hopefully we can see a little bit more of that. And maybe Jim's got something up his sleeve.
I hope so. And you got to get that defense. The defense has to become more polished, I think. They're giving up yards. They gave up quite a bit to Maryland. Maryland made it look easy against them. Iowa, one of the best or worst offenses ever in college football. So I'm not going to worry a whole lot about what they did. But when it came time to, they moved the ball, and that makes me a little nervous because we don't have a game wrecker on defense yet. I think that's emerged, and you got to have those that will take over a game.
Yeah,
and I want to see that here before we get into that Penn State game. Hopefully, it's this week. That would be great, but really it needs to start at that Penn State game. We need somebody to dominate that football game on each side of the ball, someone that you can start getting all of that excitement and being like, hey, this is our guy. This is the one that we're going to trust when we need to.
Yeah, get on his back. Let's let him carry us. I want Ronnie Bell to be there. I just don't think he's the same guy after getting hurt.
Yeah, I agree with that. Which is too bad.
It is bad. But man, I look for him to hopefully be that go-to trusty option. I mean, Schoonmaker too is looking pretty dang good.
Yeah.
He looks like to be have a good
tight end once All gets back too.
And then I didn't realize he was out of the game too because I was looking at the box score while at the wedding.
Yeah, he's missed the last 2 games.
Yeah, and I was like, man, where's this guy been? I feel like he ended.
Sounds like it could be a season ender too.
Really?
Yeah, but they're not really talking about it. They might need surgery. I think they're still evaluating. Haven't heard much. College injuries kind of keep close to the vest there.
Especially when you got scholarships and stuff on the line. But sure. That's unfortunate because he kind of had a little flurry there at the end of the year. And looked to be a guy that might get drafted in the NFL one day.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the matchup against Indiana. I don't want to say it's impossible to lose because we've all been there and stuff. Indiana's not a good team, but you got to be ready for that Penn State game.
Yeah.
What they're doing, they're running the ball, they're playing good football for the most part. They could be a little fraudulent, I think, with their schedule, but you got to be careful because that's a team that has the talent to beat you. As long as their coach doesn't ruin it for them, that we've seen a few times. So it'll be fun to watch that game in a couple weeks.